I remember many years ago now, a friend of mine in my hometown, Adelaide in Australia, started coming to work sporting a moustache, and he was normally clean shaven, so this was rather an unusual thing. And I asked him about it, and he was saying him and his friends had decided to sport moustaches in the month of November, and they were calling it Movember. And we all thought it was very funny, and he looked very amusing as he grew his handlebar moustache throughout the month. I didn't think much more of it, it was just something he started doing every November. Now, of course, Movember has become this huge international thing now. Men all around the world do it, and it's a fundraising campaign. And, as I'll be talking about in a minute, you can see I'm doing it. But the funny thing was, the other day I went onto Wikipedia because I wanted to read a bit more about the history of Movember, and I was reading that apparently it started amongst a group of friends in Adelaide, Australia. And now what I've realised is I think maybe I witnessed the birth of Movember with my mate and a group of his friends. And now, finally, all these years later, I'm having a go at it myself. So let me tell you about it. The Movember campaign is raising funds for 3 issues of men's health, 2 of them cancer, testicular cancer and prostate cancer, and also for mental illness. Now, I think all 3 of these things are really important, and they touch, I can't think how many people's lives they touch, not just the people who endure these illnesses, but the people around them, their friends, their families, people who work with them. I think they're a really big deal. And maybe it's a cliche, but I think maybe it's also true that men probably aren't quite as aware and diligent about issues when it comes to their own health. So I think for at least 1 month a year, if growing a moustache and looking a bit silly for a while increases awareness about this and maybe also raises money for it, it's something well worth doing. So I've made the sacrifice. I'm looking increasingly ridiculous. I'm actually looking a little bit like my dad. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's probably not a look I was aiming for, but there you go. I'm going through with it through the month in the hope that maybe some people will make a small contribution they wouldn't have otherwise made. So I've put a link under the video, and anyone who's able to scratch together any money towards the Movember campaign, please make a donation. And if you do, and if it's possible, I don't know how it's possible, I'll make sure I thank everyone who does it because I really appreciate it. And even if you can't make a donation, just give it some thought and maybe somehow do your bit. At least be aware of it. That's what this is all about. It's a funny thing actually, when you make a lot of science videos, a lot of people say, what's the point of that science? It's not curing cancer. And I always say, well, there's a lot more to science and there's a lot more to the world than curing cancer. But there's also nothing wrong with curing cancer. That's pretty important too. Let's help people do that. Make a small donation if you can. And thanks. I'll post another picture or video or something as this comes to fruition to the end of the month. And then come December 1, I think that'll be it.